the Girl Sis Man podcast.
For the girls we were,
For the sisters we became, and the women we're becoming. Yo, like
We're
at this point, we're professionals, bro.
Oh,
I was gonna say the same thing, bro.
We got it down pack. It only took a year and a half, but
I know.
we did it.
But listen, practice makes progress.
It does, it does, it does.
Come on, somebody. And we're progressing, y'all. We're progressing towards the end of this season. Not with this episode, but season 2 is starting to wrap up. But fret not, we'll be back for season 3. I mean,
eventually.
Eventually.
We have gained a reputation of always being consistent for like 3 weeks and then falling off.
Okay, this last time though, I dead got COVID, y'all.
Yeah.
It was not even a joke. I went to Las Vegas. Well, I guess we'll just go right into the updates here.
Yeah.
Went to Las Vegas, had a wonderful, incredible time. Saw John Legend, would highly recommend. Saw Silk Sonic, 1000% recommend. Sell your kidney if you have to go.
Don't.
It's okay. Don't you have 2?
I don't care if I had to. Why would you? Alright.
I'm just saying.
mean, for John, I love John Legend. Anyways,
I didn't say sell your kidney for John Legend, but for Silk Sonic, yes.
Girl,
it's an experience. Okay. If you don't know, just say that. Just say that.
All right. I'm glad I don't know. I hope to never know this feeling.
Well, y'all who need to know, find out. Okay, and I know people that harvest organs, so let me know. Anywho,
okay.
For legally, what are the
What
people?
the fuck is that?
Legally.
When you say things like, "Oh, I know someone who harvests organs," you should say like, "Oh, I know a surgeon." Not they harvest organs. That's something completely different, Esther.
You see, and this is the problem with Lola. She never lets me use my vocabulary the way I want to use my vocabulary.
Well, that's not how words work, Esther. They're not like subjective. Like, oh, I'm good.
They are subjective.
All right.
Lots of things are subjective.
And this is why you caught COVID, because you subjectively went to.
That's not what happened. I went to Las Vegas. I came back just fine. I celebrated her grad party.
Yes, it was I.
Listen, I went to
patient
COVID.
zero. That's me.
I didn't say it was patient zero, but I did come back just fine from the Las Vegas, and I came back to Lola's party. We did a little bit of a bar crawl, and the next morning I woke up unable. My immune system was like, get up, and I was like, I'm down. Now, was it at Lola's grad party? Was it at a gas station we might have stopped at? The world will never know. Just like the Tootsie Pop.
Well, I mean, did I get sick with COVID? No.
Nobody
else got. And it's just so convenient that at my party, that one where you might have caught COVID, no one else got COVID.
I also went to Vegas. Nobody else caught COVID. I went with a little crew. Nobody else caught COVID there.
All right.
I don't know what happened.
Okay.
You know what I think it was? I honestly think it was like maybe the Holy Spirit being like, sit down, sis. You've been doing a lot.
Okay, because now God is sprinkling COVID in people.
I mean, he sprinkled it once in 2020. It was like all over the world.
Well, she had COVID, so we had to chill for a bit.
Right,
We're back.
but I'm back. I'm stronger than ever. I will never have COVID again. That is my promise to y'all.
You've had it twice.
Okay, yes.
I mean, I would hold back that promise, but you will try
to never have COVID again.
You're gonna drink your elderberry.
I will.
Your orange juice.
No, I hate orange juice. I'll drink my cranberry juice though.
Cranberry juice is good for like UTIs. I don't know if it does anything for. It's not. It's okay. Anyways, continue with your story, Esther. Science is not her subject, obviously.
It is not, and I'm okay with that. I'm absolutely okay.
You're just like making stuff up right now, like cranberry juice.
It's good for you.
For UTIs, but not for COVID.
How would you know?
I know these things.
Because science is your subject.
Perhaps.
Okay. In other news, recently we've had a whole bunch of new followers. Hey gang, we're so happy that we're here, right? And I thought it would be important for us to introduce ourselves, right?
Alright.
So in case you didn't know, I'm Esther.
I'm Lola, or by my government name, Paola. But don't butcher it, so you can call me Lola.
So, how would you describe your co-host?
She is a ball of energy. She is always up for the task, and she is very jovial. I think I gave you 3 and you asked for 1, but you know, she's great. So one thing is not enough to describe you. She's a fun time. She's
Take lessons, young men.
5 out of 5 on Yelp.
Nice. Oh my gosh. Okay, how would I describe my co-host?
Take your time.
I like to take my time because I like to use big words.
Okay.
Don't be daunted by this.
Oh, okay.
Lola is smart. You was smart. You was pretty. You was kind. No, actually, no. No, Lola is actually very smart. I love that she is she stands in her truth, which I love that she's been doing that more and more recently. Particularly because then she helps me rein in my own truth, like our recent conversation about what is and is not subjective in my vocabulary.
Yeah.
I think that Lola's also so very colorful. She's like very multifaceted. I feel like she's learning this about herself more recently.
Yeah.
And I like that. And Lola's very forgiving and considerate of others. I think so. Like, I think that you're very, very good at that. Like, she puts others, like, she just wakes up in the morning and she's just considerate, and I appreciate that, because we need more considerate people in the world.
We do. Some of y'all are trifling.
For real.
Disrespectful.
And it's not main character energy, which is the topic of the day. Okay, so can we discuss, like, what is main character energy?
I think the idea or the concept is that you are able to romanticize your life, whether you feel like it's living up to the expectations you see on social media, or if it's just this modest life that you are living in your truth, you're being the best that you can be, and you're giving yourself the attention that you feel like you deserve.
Yes, ma'am.
I would hope that's what we're living, but I feel like sometimes some of y'all doing something else, and y'all running rampant, and I am tired of you. Respectfully, some of you are narcissists, and it ain't cute, sis. Or men. Or non-binary, whoever it is.
Okay.
Some of y'all really think very highly of yourselves. And
that's the gunfire that's coming out.
And some of y'all just need to be a little humble. Okay. Main characters can be humble, and unfortunately, there's not a lot of humble main characters that I'm seeing on Instagram.
I don't know if I agree. I don't know. I like the definition that you gave, right? And I think that this generation, our generation in particular, does very well giving main character energy. Because I feel like I feel like this generation has the gift of kind of discovering like different parts of themselves and kind of putting that out there. Like when we talk about that hustle lifestyle, and now we're coming into our soft lifestyle and going into, being community centric and now being in our main character energy. And I love this part because a lot of the times I think that we're told that we're selfish if we're not always considering others, if we're not always putting ourselves first. And I mean, this comes as a surprise to no one. But I like living in my main character energy. And you know what? And let me tell you why I'm not going to be humble, okay? Because I spent the last 20 odd years being humble.
What's the opposite of humble?
Encouraged.
No, it's not. You know all the big words.
No.
You do.
Opposite of humble.
Someone would say arrogant.
Oh, I don't think so. Let's bring out the Webster. Where is Webster?
Is that Google, my friend? The opposite.
You don't gotta put that. Just put it in.
I'm gonna do it.
You can just go to dictionary.com.
Opposite of humble. That's how okay.
Let's see.
Proud, overbearing.
Or proud. I like proud.
Okay, and pride could be an issue, but again,
is pride the word or is proud the word?
Proud.
Let's stick with proud.
Okay. Well, if I go for antonyms, did I say that correct?
Yes.
For humble, it's aggressive, assertive, cocky, confident, hubristic, overconfident, self-confident, egocentric, egotistical, narcissistic, prideful, self-affected, self-centered, self-complacent, self-conceited, a lot of self.
You know what? And here are the words.
Stuck up, swelled head, smug, self-satisfied, boastful, bombastic, braggy. I've never heard of that word. Swaggering, vain.
Oh, so here are the three words I want y'all to take away.
Extroverted.
Self-counter. What? What? All right. Well, now we know that this dictionary is broken, and that's really the problem. But I think the three most important words to take away from that long list of antonyms that no one has obviously updated in some time is proud, self-satisfied, confident, and extroverted. Those 4 words actually are phenomenal. And let me tell you why. I think a lot of us have been raised with the community-oriented thing. I think especially as children of immigrants, and y'all know I'm always going to come from that perspective, because that's just who I am, right? But I think that we're raised with, like, I'm the older sister. I've always been having to consider my younger siblings, right? Like even in my apartment search, right? I'm always like, I prefer a 2-bedroom. Why is that, you ask? Because I know I have younger siblings. If they're going to be in town, they might be moochers. They are moochers. And they might stay long term. You know what I'm saying? These are things that I always think about. I'm always going to have family passing through. It's who we are. So when I think about even like my car situation, right? When I think of everything I do, I go to the grocery store. I never buy for just me. I always walk in there and think, oh, so-and-so is going to need something. So-and-so is going to need something. I think that we've been raised geared towards a community mentality, which is not always bad, right? Yeah. However, when I think about so many of us in life who settle, whether it be for our careers, our relationships, what have you, it's because we're always considering someone else. And for once, I think it's okay to sit down in self-satisfaction and be like, I'm actually not going to take the extra mile today and consider someone else. Today, my focus will be on me. And if you want to do that for a year, if you want to do that for 3, 4, 5 years, I think that's a great thing, because most of our lives, I mean, we're social creatures. We're sitting here concerned about someone else to the point in which, and most times, we're to detriment to ourselves. You're going to settle for a relationship because it's easier. Maybe your family likes this guy. Maybe you have a kid with this person and you think, my kid deserves to have a father in their life. He doesn't have to have adjectives like great, consistent, awesome, right? But just because it's the easier thing to do, it's the more considerate thing to do, we sit ourselves down in situations that are really lifelong sentences, but we get the title of community oriented, kind, not giving the main character energy. And you know what? I'm done. I've recently come across, hold on now, this is my main character energy moments, but no, I've come across the point where I'm like, I love people. I'm an extrovert. I love people.
You do.
Right? However, I'm like, more recently, I've had to be like, yo, I gotta put Esther first. Yeah. And that means quitting my job, even though no one seems to understand why that is. And I'm gonna be doing it before 2023, y'all. Hold me to that. But mind your business at the same time, though. Don't be in my inbox talking about, ain't you unemployed yet? Mind your business. Be respectful now. I'm an adult. All right? But that means I'm going to be putting me first unapologetically. Okay. I think that's what main character energy means. So I feel like these words here,
they're subjective.
They're subjective.
All right. I hear what you're saying, and I'm not disagreeing. I think there's a lot of points that you've made that I too believe in. I think it's beautiful that we as women of color who come from an immigrant background have been taught to be overly considerate of others, and to the point where I feel like it's not even consideration. It is sometimes being a doormat for your family, your friends. And so I get what your point is, but what I'm saying is, what I'm seeing on Instagram, social media, it is not that. It is hubris. It is to the point where it's concerning. And I do think it's a pendulum swing. Like, we're a society that went from very community-based, people living, several families in one home, to like people like, I gotta get out at 18. It's always in a swing. And I can imagine in 20, 30 years, this whole main character energy might not be the craze, the latest craze. But what I'm trying to point out is that, unfortunately, while most of us are normal people and probably can contain our main character energy, because while it is great to have main character energy, I'm going to say something real, you're not the center of the universe. I'm not, you're not. You could live in that world where you think you are, but you are not. You aren't. I'm sorry to be mean. It's just truth. You are not the center of the universe. And when you live in a world in your head that you're like, I am the center of the universe, you know what happens? You get crazy people who live by the ends justify the mean. And what happens is you stop being considerate for people and you hurt people on the way and you make a lot of damage. So I am not talking about the average person. I think the average person knows I'm actually not the center of the universe. I mean, I know that while it's important for me to put me first, I am not the end-all, be-all. The sun rises on the east and sets on the west. Like, these are people who are normal. There are people out here making disasters of other people's lives because they think I'm the main character and other people are just side characters. And that's where my concern is. If you're the main character, what are the other people in your life? And maybe it is sometimes that I'm too considerate and I think of other people, but I think I'm the main character of my story, but I also know I'm not the center of the universe, and that's A-okay. And I don't want to be the center of the universe. I don't desire for that to be the purpose of my life. So that's why I'm saying that. And yesterday I watched this documentary called Untold. It's the ESPN series with Manti Te'o. And I think most people know in 2013 he was like the victim of a hoax of like a catfish. And like people.
Now y'all are evil. That's not even main character energy. That is villainous.
But you said the word right there. A lot of y'all think you're main characters, but you're whole ass villains. So this woman, Naya, who was trans at the time, was, I forget what her dead name is. Lene. Well, that was her fictitious name.
Oh, okay.
She pretended to be this character, and at the end of this documentary, mind you, she was very emotionally manipulative. She really ruined somebody's life.
Traumatized this man multiple times.
Exactly.
By faking her death, faking a terminal illness, coming back to life. Yes. I'm like, you are literally ill.
And at the end, and I showed you the clip where she goes like, I wish I could undo all these things, but I also understand that because of these things happening, I was able to come to live in my truth. And that is the mentality of the ends justify the means, right? She finally transitioned. She's comfortable in her skin. But the truth of the matter is, the ends don't justify the means. Sometimes the means are up. And I'm talking about like the extremes. Yeah. And I do think that people need to take in consideration like, hey, what does main character energy mean to me? What does it look like? Does it look like what it looks like on social media? Or is it me saying to my family like, hey, I put on a lot of this load and I need to back up? And I agree. Then if that's the case, that you need to take some main character energy and manifest it and chill out and think of yourself first. But I do like main character energy. I just think I've seen a lot of like narcissistic, and I think there are people who just do that. And I've spoken to people, they'll talk about a scenario and there is no self-awareness. I'm like, can you believe they did that? And I'm like, actually I can't, because I had a friend, right? I do have a friend, and I remember one time she was talking about how she started dating this guy that her friend had been dating before, like maybe not months, a couple months before, and the way she was talking, you would think that the first girl was the villain. Like, oh, I can't believe she like isn't over. I'm like, ma'am, you swindled her man. And I'm like, and I don't think this
you bamboozled her.
Like, but in her mind, this man's the love of her life. It just, the ends justify the means, and maybe to them it does because they're meant to be, or they were meant to be. But like, what about this poor girl? What did she do to you to deserve this?
And a betrayal from a friend.
And so a lot of people do shit like that. People are out here lying, cheating, doing things that they shouldn't be doing because in their mind the end is more important than how they get there.
Okay.
And some people are just not as moral as they should be.
Fair. I'm not gonna lie. When you say it like that in the extreme cases, I can completely understand. And even I can be like, yes, that is felonious activity. It is wrong.
But like, how many people have you heard like, oh, so-and-so's husband did this? And you're like, I wonder why this person thought that this is okay. Because they believe themselves to be the main character of their life. They don't care about the harm that they're causing, because to them the harm
No, and I think that everything with moderation, right?
Exactly.
I believe that everything should come with moderation. Like, now, if you got a house full of kids, a wife who working overtime, there's no justification for you bending over to Starbucks barista, you know what I'm saying? For some extra coffee, okay?
No. Stop.
Listen, well, Starbucks getting sued for more than one reason, so anywho.
But no, I agree. I think it's important, especially that women who have been taught to be very considerate and meek and mild do find some time to like put themselves first, because like.
But I think that's more so what I'm referring to. Like, on a very serious note, I'm loving that so many women are putting themselves first. Like, for example, I was actually watching, not a documentary, a YouTube, commenters thingy the other day, and we were talking about divorce, right? And she was like, yes, like most divorces now, I think 60% of divorces are initiated by women. And that brought me so much joy. And let me tell you why. Let me tell you why. Yes, let me elaborate. No one wants to see the dissolution of a marriage. Mm-hmm. I think that is literally, like, I've seen a few in the past year, and it's heartbreaking stuff. It is, right? But a lot of them, like, if you're looking at why these women are getting divorced, they're leaving abusive relationships. They're leaving, where they've been cheated on, where they're being cheated on constantly. They're leaving for better situations. And they're choosing themselves over the constant push of, how about the family? You know what I'm saying? Well, forgive him. Or how about this? And how about that? And what about this? I'm like, I just feel like particularly, and this of course applies to men as well, but I mean, we're ladies. So I'm like, I love to see that there are more women sticking up for themselves these days and picking themselves first over finally having to consider the entire community. Because everyone always goes, well, how about the kids? Are you going to remove their father from their lives? Well, was he a father when he was not present at Timmy's game or him doing homework time or whatever, and instead in someone else's bed, probably bringing home diseases to me that I would later pass on to maybe an unborn child or something, right? Things along those lines. And I think that people always go, well, that's the extreme. It's actually not.
No.
Women are always at the higher end for STDs because we're on the receiving end. You know what I'm saying? Women are always at the higher end for financial and emotional and physical abuse. I'm like, so why can I not be happy for women finally being the main characters? And I think particularly I'm on this path because I'm like, you see, like, no offense, the rise of low-key incels. And there's a reason for that. And I guess we can elaborate on that later on. But I'm like, you see a lot of men who are out here like, oh, like, it's because y'all don't care about people, like this modern woman, like, oh, all that main character energy. I'm all the way here for it. I am.
Yeah.
I'm like, put yourself and your happiness first. And you know what? I'm like, if you do have a tiny tyke watching, great. Be an inspiration, not on selfishness, but making sure that you're not taking anything that is the bare minimum, because that is also not fair to you. It sets a precedent. And I'm glad that we are in the generation of setting precedents, of moving for yourself. And that goes out to the immigrant daughters. That goes out to the daughters who, everybody's an immigrant out here. I don't even know. I ain't gonna say no immigrant daughters. Even if you pale skin girl, you immigrant, you came from somebody, okay? You came from somewhere. I ain't even gonna play that game. Everyone has the right to put themselves first in moderation. I'm not saying go out here and ruin someone's life. That is what that young lady did. I don't care how she spins the story. You ruined someone's life. You have traumatized that person time and again, and you have set a precedent for how others will now engage with people maybe in and outside your community. Think about that too. And that's not main character energy. That's being considerate, right? Again, everything within moderation.
I think you make a great point, and when it comes to like putting yourself first, I always have consideration of the people around you and your environment. But yeah, there's a lot of shame and guilt when you do put yourself first, and it'll be very easy to put your dreams and your hopes on the back burner.
Right, to be a good guy.
Yeah, and then again, I don't think anybody wants others to do or help them if they're gonna resent it afterwards. Like that's even a shittier feeling. So, point made. Ding ding ding. Point for Esther.
You know what, actually, you know what, as we even talk about main character energy and like the negative reproaches of that, can we, because y'all, we're trying to give you a little bit of everything. We give you some of the pop culture, we give you some of the politics, we give you some of the foolishness. Now,
said foolishness.
Come on. So here's the thing, right? So as y'all know, Biden has a student debt relief program, and I am actually appalled. I went on a rant. Ooh, y'all,
Yeah,
Lola and Margaret, bless their hearts.
My ears were ringing.
Literally, Lola be at work, and I'm sure she be pressing play at 8 a.m. and at 5 p.m. she's still walking. The audio was still going, y'all. Bless their hearts. I went on a rampage. I was so upset. And why was I upset, you ask? I was upset about how it was being received.
Yeah.
And bear with me, because I really do think that I am a great bipartisan party. I think I don't even, when I go to the ballots or whatever, I don't even like picking a side. I like to make decisions that are based off of good standing for where we are in the times that we are. Anyway, I was upset at how it was received because so many people were unsatisfied.
Yeah.
They were unhappy, and they were loud and mean, and they were like, we shouldn't be paying off your student debt. We shouldn't be doing this. We shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah.
And I was so frustrated because I was like, y'all pay for the mistakes and the corruptions of billionaires.
All the time.
Every year. Every year.
Yep.
I'm like, every year, you who are working for the billionaires who are not paying you enough, you who are working for the billionaires who do not give you good benefits, you who are working so hard you cannot see your kids, your family, and your dog named Kanzi.
Tell them, sis.
No, you know, I'm like, you're upset that for once your fellow neighbor would get a piece of that coin, not even enough for the love of the Lord. Most people taking out student loans, less than a third of student loan recipients are less in debt than $10,000. $10K? Are y'all broke? Y'all got to be broke.
Are you stupid?
Crying for $10K. I'm like, but you are upset that your friend would get $10K, your neighbor would get $10K that would probably A, help boost their credit scores, B, bring them out from the tyranny of oppression of debt in this country.
Now that you a bitch.
Come on. I'm like, And most of them are still going to be struggling. Now, instead of paying thousands of dollars a month, they might pay a little less, $999.99.
I was watching a press conference, and I forget what reporter was like, Mr. Biden, do you think it's fair to those who've paid off their student loans or those who have never taken student loans? I'm like, why the would somebody who don't got student loans be upset by this? Like, real life. What would you be hurt about? You ain't
what do you stand to lose? It's not your taxes. They already shelving those out the wazoo anyway.
Like, you even got those problems. You don't even have those problems. And also, people who've paid off their student loans, which people and what school did they go to? Because if they went to an Ivy League school, they probably have millions of dollars of endowments. So maybe they have less than $10,000. Right. That means that they get placed in these jobs where they're making six figures, so they can pay off their student loans. So I have questions, reporter from whatever station you're from, and you're disrespectful. And I'm glad Sleepy Joe woke up and got you all the way together.
Right, now you was embarrassed.
You felt stupid.
Right. And you sounded stupid. Because I'm like, wasn't nobody asking questions when we was giving billionaires, more tax breaks than they already have. They got their money in tax havens as it is. And that's not to say like I'm hating on those who have money. It's not. But I'm like, can't you just say, I'm so glad that the little guy got a break?
Nope.
No, I assure you, very few people walked away completely debtless, okay, from that 10K, all right? And even having to say that as a justification sounds just so sad. It's a cad statement. It is sad to say.
I just feel like some people just like problems. Like, I feel like they're like, here's my opportunity. Let's shake the table. And it's like, you're stupid. You're a whole dummy. Like, you're dumb.
I'm like,
Stop talking.
It's so funny because you have people, and like particularly you have certain senators and Republicans, and I'm so glad the White House on Twitter was feeling feisty the other day.
He was like, right.
The Republican senators that went, on the stream, on the air to bash it, they replied and they were like, well, you also don't forget that you forgave, $1 million in PPE loans. That's people getting off for having fake businesses and corrupt things as per usual. I'm like, and y'all failed to mention that to your taxpayers, right? And this is not, again, to say that the government is giving out free money. That's really not the case. America has one of the highest debt rates in the world. It's crushing. You have people who literally cannot move out of their financial situation, out of their financial category, who are born into poverty and will die in poverty because of the way, like, we have, these businesses are sharks. Credit cards, credit loaners are sharks. I'm like, not only are you born down bad financially, then because of that, they give you higher interest rates because they don't think that you'd be able to pay it off. Even when you are paying it off, it's impossible because by the time that you get to the point that you would pay it off, it's already doubled up. So now you're paying double. I'm like, and then you go to school hoping to alleviate it with a good paying job. And then the same billionaires who are already making millies and billies off of your head are not giving you real financial support through your salary, no good benefits because they don't want to be responsible for you, but you're supposed to wake up every day with some kind of modicum of enthusiasm to go help and make them more money. And then someone who is struggling with you, who are still in the mud, want to turn around and go, well, I pulled myself up by my bootstraps, and your boots still are covered in shit from working so hard. Wouldn't you love it if somebody else walked into your home and sat at your table not smelling the way you did? Goodness, shame on y'all.
Give him the finger.
I'm like, it's so disappointing. It was so disappointing. And then some of y'all, now I'm coming for y'all. Those of you who benefited and had something ill to say, I think I was the most disappointed in. And I will say this because I'm like, shit stink everywhere you go. Think of your credit loans, your student loans as shit. All they did was take a piece of the poop on top and y'all was still angry? I'm like, y'all are upset someone is helping y'all, talking about, well, I wanted it all done. They have a point in that the money does come from somewhere, sis.
Yeah.
The money comes from somewhere. If we had to alleviate all student debt, well, damn. How about instead we talk about reevaluating the cost of education in this country?
Yes. Talking about those interests on those loans.
Right. Some of the most predatory interest rates.
Capped at a certain percentage. there's no reason why I got 30% APR.
I'm like, and
on
then
a
some of
loan.
y'all again made it about yourselves or your marginalized groups, main character energy, talking about this is racist. It most certainly is not. He gave those of you with Pell Grants, and y'all know who y'all are, okay? Those of y'all who was broke and remain broke, I'ma just say it like that, gave y'all double because 9 times out of 10 y'all got Pell Grants. So what was racist about him giving y'all double? Because I don't think that this, and y'all need to understand that he's the first person to ever actually do it after years and years of promises from politicians, and he will likely be the last person in our lifetime to do it. You bunch of ingrates, have some self-respect.
Look myself in the mirror and go, I'm ashamed.
It boggled me. It was really saddening, and that's not to say that I don't understand the financial ramifications that this will have, particularly in a world.
Also, the loans are deferred till December, which I'm taking advantage of.
Come on, somebody. I might go out there and ride in the streets. Come on, somebody. But I just think that for once we need to just be happy for the person next to us if it didn't impact us, if that blessing didn't hit us. As it says, if you're usually in church, if he's blessing your neighbor, that means he's in the neighborhood. You better shout hallelujah, because then maybe he won't pass you by. Just be grateful. It's okay to just be grateful. You might not be satisfied. You might not have gotten everything that you wanted, but you got to remember that somebody ain't getting nothing at all, and that you are getting something, which is better than nothing. Come on, somebody. And 3, if you have nothing nice to say,
don't say nothing at all.
Say nothing at all. It costs you nothing. The economy is already in a turmoil due to the pandemic. That's
a recession. I'm so scared. Real life, I'm like, yo.
But you know what? It's happening worldwide.
It really is.
So you know what, American citizens? It wasn't Biden. All right? China's doing it. India's doing it. All of Europe is doing it. Find a country that's not going towards recession right now, and I will pay you.
It's the latest craze.
It is. But really it is. And that's because we were all struggling under a pandemic. That wasn't, and I don't even like the man. That wasn't Trump's fault. That wasn't Biden's fault. It's a global issue, Americans. Please don't make the situation about yourselves. It's not. Everyone is going through it.
Okay. I cannot contest that.
You can't.
I can't contest that. I just wrote that into main character energy because I think we are all neutral characters that are able to do good and bad. And we all, I feel like it's like the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
MCU.
We all have our own separate movies and we come together collectively. And in our own movies, yes, we are the main characters. But the purpose of us is to be together and
add to each other's
exactly.
movies.
And you move the plot along.
I like that.
And so, yes, in your movie, you're the main character.
But in the grand scheme of life, we're all main characters.
We're all Avengers.
And let's contribute to one another's success.
Yes, and defeat Thanos.
I like that. Yes. And Thanos being the
so be considerate and of yourself as well.
Right, exactly. And that's on period.
Y punto.
Periodo.
Okay, that's
subjective Spanish.
Subjectively, that's Spanish. But I appreciate the fervor. Well, thank you guys. Catch us on the next time. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe.
And don't feel, ashamed if you have a different comment. We're totally down to have conversations.
Let's disagree. Let's fight.
Let's agree to disagree. We want you guys to engage, interact. Even if you don't always agree with what we're saying, that's even better because then we can have someone sit at the table who can educate us on a different side of things. Come on, y'all. Be the Avenger you were called to be. Sit at the table, share your thoughts. You're more than welcome. And that's it from us here at the Girl Sis Man podcast. Bye.